today we're going to look at precision measurement in woodworking. In woodworking, we probably use some rulers, and rulers are okay if you're a wood butcher, but they're not really useful in mechanics. If you want to know how much you raised your truck and how much more you want to raise it, or in my world, how much I've lowered my vehicle and how much I want to lower it more, this is okay. But we're going to be working on engines. For you guys in level 1, we're going to be taking engines apart. All of these engines have run, all of these engines have driven. I know the histories of most of these motors, and so you'll be taking it all completely apart. And as we go through it, we're going to be measuring a bunch of stuff in the engine to find out if it's any good. It's kind of like when you buy a pair of shoes, you try them on your feet and see if they fit your foot. You don't just buy any shoe and go for it. And how do you know if it's any good? It's too tight, it's too loose, whatever. In there, we need to know what is acceptable in our motors and why is it here. The engines tell you a story, and to know what it's doing uses precision measurement. So there's a variety of different tools we're going to use. One we're going to use is a micrometer, and it looks like this. So they come in different sizes. Micrometers are wonderful for measuring precision, and they can go down to usually a thousandth of an inch, 0.001 of an inch. This one can go to 10 thousandths, which we don't really need to do working on old Chevys in there, and Dodges and Fords. But if you're going into aerospace or NASA, you're going to want to go down to 4 decimal places for sure. We generally don't need it, but we can if we want to. These are all pretty much the same, and they only measure 1 inch. So if you need to measure something bigger than what this can open to, you got to buy another one. So this one is a 1 to 2 micrometer, and it measures no smaller than 1 inch and no bigger than 2 inches. And then if you want to go bigger than that, you got to buy this one, which is a 2 to 3, and then a 3 to 4, and a 4 to 5, and a 5 to 6, and a 6 to 7, and so on. And you can have a whole slew of these for all the different sizes that you want. They only move 1 inch. So we're just going to focus on how to read that 1 inch range, because if it's a 1 to 2, all you got to do is add that unused inch to whatever the measurement's going to be. When we're handling this, it's good practice to leave this on your pinky so that the heat from your hand does not warm up and expand the metal and give you a false reading. Again, for what we're doing, probably doesn't matter, but it's good practice to try and keep your heat away from that. The other thing you can do is, or should do, is there's a thumb, it's like a ratchet, you can hear it clicking in here. Until you really get the feel for this machine, use the ratchet. I had one kid a couple years ago who was measuring something in metalwork, and he tightened this thing so tight that it stripped the threads in here and no longer came off of the kid's project. So the project was kind of screwed, as was my micrometer. I had to go buy another one. Just use the ratchet. So there's things we can measure here. I have this hunk of steel, which is 1/2 inch. So I want to measure this and find out if it is exactly 1/2 inch. Who knows what the decimal equivalent is for 1/2 inch? 0.5. Yeah, so I expect to see 0.5. This is hot rolled, so it might be not exactly 0.5. It's also kind of rusty, so I might actually measure the rust, which could be a little bit of a problem. So I'm going to open this up and set this over the end, like so, and I'm going to tighten the ratchet part like this, and see where it stops. It doesn't want to slide off. And it is excitingly bigger than 0.5. So this is cool. So if I write this down on the board, please help me have a felt pen that works. So this is 1/2 inch angle iron is 0.512. So it's a little bit bigger than 1/2 inch. If you measured with this a ruler, you'd be like, that's a 1/2 inch. And if you're just welding stuff together, consider it 1/2 inch. But if you wanted to machine this, this will not fit in a 1/2 inch slot because it's too big. Let's pick something else. I have this piece of steel rod. It looks to me to be 1/8 of an inch. Anybody really good with fractions and knows what 1/8 is as a decimal? I can't do simple math in my head. Yep.
Like it's either 14.3 or 16.3.
0.125, that's what it should be. Well done. For an 1/8 of an inch. So if I'm measuring this, oh man, despite having an anti-rusting kind of copper coating on this, so this is 1/8 inch rod, and it measures to be 0.12. Oh man, if I go to decimal places, 4, 9. So almost 0.125. It's just a fart smaller. It'll probably fit in an 1/8 inch drilled hole fairly well. Got a piece of soft jaws. You guys remember making the soft jaws in metalwork, level 1, if you took metalwork with me. Put this on here. We'll see what this is. This, I think, is 90 thousandths, and it measures 50, no, it's 75. Okay. So aluminum, we got 0.664 apparently. 50, 64. Okay, a little bit smaller than I expect. Got a piece of tin. Same stuff from the pencil case that you might have made in metal 8 or 9, depending on what grade you're in. Let's see what this one is. And this is 25, 35, 40. So tin, 0.25, 30, 45, 044. Assuming I'm measuring that correctly. Let's check this piece of paper. Paper seems pretty thin. We can measure it. You gonna be able to measure it accurately with a ruler, the thickness of this piece of paper? I think not. And this is 0.003. Now, there's high quality paper which might be thicker, and there's probably some thinner paper that's not so good quality. 0.003 of an inch, okay? Doink. No. Doink. No. Oh, yes, that's a good one too. Hair from my head. Oh, that is a small one. Okay. 0.000. Unless this thing is not accurate. Seems pretty small. I'm not sure. Is this thing even 0? Oh, this is actually off a little bit. My apologies. So what's 0013? Now, we want to measure, or we want to understand how this thing is going to work. Before we get into that, let's take a look at these numbers. Oil clearance is inside your engine. When your engine's running, you can't have pieces touching. There has to be a little bit of a space, and we're going to cushion that with oil. We need to have some kind of space. Who's got a driver's license and has driven in the rain and hit a puddle that's a little bit uncomfortable? Have you guys experienced hydroplaning? So you're ripping down the highway, you hit a puddle and your car goes woo, and your butt just kind of like puckers right there, right? How many guys know? So what happens there is your car's going along fast enough, the water starts to build up under the tires and it lifts the tire off the ground, and it's interesting. And you have not experienced hydroplaning like slicks in a puddle of water, because it's like if you snowboard and you get that fresh powder that nobody's ever been in before and it's like riding a cloud. That's what hydroplaning and slicks is like. You just like, and suddenly, I'm sailing away. And you wait until you wash ashore, figure out where you beached, and then try to get back on track. It is sketchy. So keep an eye on your tread of your tires. Make sure you have tread that gets the water out of the tread. Inside our engine, things are essentially hydroplaning. You'll have a shaft that is going to be rotating, and it needs to fit somewhere. That's not a very good drawing. And inside here, we want to have some oil, so the whole thing kind of hydroplanes on a coating of oil inside the motor. That's what we're shooting for. If that gap is too big, we don't have a good oil cushion, it may not hold that oil in. If it's too small, things can go wrong. For you guys in level 1, how big do you wonder the thickness of that oil cushion inside the engine could be? We got a bunch of different things. Where do you think it's going to compare? How big are those oil clearances inside a motor? Not for the level 2s, because you know. If you guys in level 1, yep.
Around the thousandths of an inch.
You've been here before. Yes. The oil clearances on engines are in this ballpark, 1.5 thousandths or so. In the world of Chevy, old school Chevys, 0.003, that's junk. Like it's kind of done, it needs a rebuild. In the world of Dodge, even old school Dodge, which surprises me, what's a little bit tight for a Chevy is like kind of loose for a Dodge, which is a little bit weird. And Japanese vehicles have a little bit more fussiness. If you talk to Riga, he used to have a Lada, a nice Russian Jeep from way back in the battle days. And he took it to a mechanic, and the mechanic was like, look at these specs. I mean, normal vehicles, this is too tight, this is too loose. And Lada is like, she's good, man, yes, put vodka in there, dry father. It's amazing. So this is kind of what it wants to be. So the hair on my head is the thickness of the oil clearances inside our engine. And it's so all of a sudden, like, that doesn't seem like a whole lot. So you want to be changing your oil on a regular basis so you don't get crud and carbon and crap in the oil plugging up those spaces inside the journal. So we want to learn how to read this beast, which seems sketchy, but we're going to make it work for you as soon as I can figure out how to erase this. Here we go. All right, reading the micrometer. We want to measure from 0 to 1 inch. We don't do fractions. Fractions sucks. 5 out of 4 people have problems with fractions. So we're going to do this in decimals because I hate fractions. Decimals are nice. If I was splitting this into decimal, it would be like 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5, 0.6, 0.7, 0.8, 0.9. Okay? Now, if I take this piece of imagine this is like my fancy-dancy, engineered and designed measurement dude, like so, and I put a line right here and say 0, and I line up this 0 with this 0 and everything's all lined up, I've just measured 0. If I pull this back to here, it would make sense. I've just measured 0.1. And if I pull it back to here, 0.2. And if I pull it back to here, 0.3. With me so far? Okay, now nodding heads, awesome. But what if I'm here? We don't really want to estimate. Estimate is like for art. We want stuff to be very much more precise. So we got a problem with this. So what we can do is add some more lines in here. And I can split this up like so. And so this will be 0.025, and this will be 0.050, this will be 0.075, 25, 50, 75, 0.1. Make sense? It's like money, right? 25, 50, 75, $1. Here it comes. 25, 50, 75, $1. 25, 50, 75, $1. 25, 50, 75, $1. 25, 50, 75, $1. 25, 50, 75, $1. 25, 50, 75, $1. 25, 50, 75, $1. 25, 50, 75, $1. Oh, filtered cigarettes. So now, if I'm here and I measured 0 and it's lining up with 0, and I slide it over to here, I just measured 0.025. Okay? If I slide it over here, I just measured 0.50, about the thickness of the tin. If I go over to here, 0.75, I go to here, 1, 125, 150, 175, 2. With me so far? This is easy. Now it gets interesting. That's sweet, but what if I'm not here, but I'm somewhere in the middle? Well, we could... Well, it's like 25,000, so I could split that up into thousands, right? So I could go like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. But your head would explode. It would look... It's too much. It's too hard to see, especially on something this small. Like, I'm not going to be able to see 25 little tiny lines in a space of 25 thousandths of an inch. I'm not that good. So instead, we're going to take those 25, we're going to put them on this. So it'll be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Now, instead of sliding this thing back and forth, we can make this thing so it's wrapped around like so, and the 0 would line up. And if I turn this and thread it, and I design the thread such that one full turn would bring me to 25, so 25 lines have gone by. It's like we took this and put it on there so that I can frickin' see it. Not fricassee it, that's cooking. This isn't a cooking class. So if I did this and I'm at the 0.25 and then I rotate it around one full turn, 25 lines have gone around. Now I'm at the 50. So if I go to the 50 to here, I'm definitely past the 0.50 and I have 5 more. So I would have measured 0.55. Does that kind of make sense? Okay. So if I go over to like here, and when I was in my apprenticeship training school, I was not good at simple math. I'm still not very good at simple math, so I had to write this stuff down. So I go, okay, I'm definitely past the 0.5. And you want to do 3 decimal places. We're giving them to you. Use them all. Even if it's 0, put frickin' 0. So I'm definitely past the 0.5. I'm definitely past the 25 and the 50. And then I got 21 on the dial. 0 plus 0 plus 1? Okay, good, good. 5 plus 2? Oh man, that's still slow, but not bad. 5 plus 0 plus 0?
5.
Oh man, both in stereophonic sound. So it's 571. That's our measurement there. If I go over to here, let's go to this one. I'm definitely past the 0.7. And I used to have to write this down and add them up because I could not do it in my head. I've done it enough over the years, I can do it in my head. Some of you guys can probably do it in your head. You've probably already got it in your head.
That's a 0.75.
Close. I'm definitely past the 0.7. Got it. 25, 50, 75.
I just know like you wrote 0.7, or you're supposed to write 0.75 because it's 3/4 of the way across.
Well, not yet.
It's a notch.
This is the 025 line, like this one. And then we got the 050 and the 075. So I'm going to write it down, unless that's what you meant. But I'm definitely past the 75 line, and I've got 4 on the dial. So 004. 5 plus 4? We're getting quicker, I like it, awesome. 7 plus 0 plus 0? Nice. 7 plus 0 plus 0? Still 7, awesome. So we get 779. So close to 0.75. And if you're a woodworker, if you cut it at 0.75, it'll work. If you made your crankshaft this size and it needed to fit in the proper size, it's not going to work. So it's got to be exact. Let's try one over here, and we'll go to this one. Actually, no, I want to do this right there. This is a tricky one, haha. And we have to kind of make a call here. It looks like we're past the 0.2. If I'm just past the 0.2, I would expect to see small numbers. But if I'm almost at the 0.2, I would expect to see big numbers in here, and I'm messing it up like this. Let's try that. So I'm definitely past the 0.1. I'm definitely past the 25, 50, and the 75, and I got 24 on here. 5 plus 4 is 9, 7 plus 2 is 9, 1 plus blur is still 1, so it's 0.199. It's a baby fart away from being 0.2, but it's only here. This would be a fart too small, that would be a fart too big. That would be bang on. But it's really, I'm taking the 25 guys out of there, throwing them on here so you can make them work. Does that make sense? See you guys. Okay, now, let's test it and see. Checking for comprehension. All right, and for that, I need to do this drawing like this. Oh, all right. Oh, shoot. I moved this earlier. I'm going to move it again. Pew. Dink. And I want to do this. Pew. Boop. All right. So now I'm going to turn this. Come on, boy. All right. I want to try to get it right on a line here. Come on. All right, so pretend that this 0 is lining up. Okay? Just pretend that it's lining up, because my big clunky sausage fingers can't do this. So I'm very definitely past the 0.4. I'm definitely past the 2550. If that 0 lined up exactly, I'm on the 075 line. And then in theory, there's nothing on this. So then it's 0.475. That's pretty straightforward. Okay, someone from level 1, if I can get this to line up with for you. Come on, come on. Oh. All right, pretend that the 10 lines up. Let's pretend it does. Someone from level 1, what is this reading? What measurement we got here? Yep. Yeah, because you got 0.5. There's no 25, 50, or 75. If it helps you, you can put zeros. And we got 10 on the dial. So that would be 5, 10. Nice. A Datsun fan, I can tell. Okay? Let's try somebody else from level 1. This one. We got it right on the button. Somebody else from level 1. Try this one. Yep.
571.
5 what?
0.571.
571. So I'm definitely past the 0.5. I got 25, 50. I'm not quite at the 75, so I definitely have 50 in there. And we got 21 on there. So yeah, 571. Yes, awesome. You can do this in your head, I'm impressed. Not my skill. Okay, somebody else from level 1. Let's see if we can get this one to line up nicely. Let's pretend this guy lines up. Someone else from level 1. Yep.
0.635.
635. I got 0.6. I got 25. And this looks like a 9. I know they darkened up this. They put a red on the 10. But I would say the 9 is lining up with this, which would be 0.634, I think. If the 10 was there, 635. Absolutely. This particular one can go to 4 decimal places. So we're like a teeny fart over the 9, and you look for which one lines up, which would be the number 1. So it would be 0.6341. If you wanted to go to 4 decimal places, we don't have to, but you can. Okay, we'll do one last one and call our quits, man. Again, someone from level 1. This one. Someone new from level 1. Chance. What number are we definitely past? Okay, so we're definitely past the 0.6. I can see the 7 just peeking around the corner, but I'm not there yet.
Stops at 5.
So we're definitely past the 7.5 because I got 25, 50, 75, and then this number 6 should be 7, 8, 681. Let's see if we win, because they give us the answer, which makes it hardest to teach. So yeah, 681. You got the right answer. Sounds like you got this thing down like pat, so that's awesome. I have a joyous worksheet that I'll be handing out to you, and we'll go through them as best we can. One side goes 3 decimal places, the other side you're going to estimate to 4 decimal places, and we'll check our answers in class. Okay? So I'll go get those worksheets, and let's give it a go. Woohoo! Like, share, subscribe.